In our world, many inexplicable phenomena occur that are hard to believe. Fortunately, people now have drones capable of capturing any moment, ensuring their owners' complete safety. In this video, I invite you to get acquainted with the most eerie, mystical stories that have been filmed with drones. Enjoy watching. 3 monster hunters received a message from a man stating that a strange creature had settled in the forest near his house. It resembled a monkey with black fur, but was more of a monster than an ordinary animal. The man complained that this monster regularly stole his chickens, so he asked the hunters for help. Of course, the young men couldn't refuse him, and they were also curious to find out what kind of creature this was. First, they scattered food among the trees and then observed using a drone. After half an hour, they captured the very monster with black fur on camera, and it wasn't alone. The monsters took the food and immediately disappeared into the forest. The monster hunters were pleasantly surprised that the man wasn't lying, so they decided to develop a strategy to catch these monsters and return here again. This footage was taken in the vicinity of Boise, Idaho. At first, it seems like there's nothing unusual, just a large bird flying in the sky. But when the cameraman changes the angle, we see that this creature resembles a pterodactyl more than a bird. After being published, this video garnered an incredible number of views. People were curious to know how an extinct dinosaur could be alive in our modern world. Scientists say it's impossible, but then what kind of animal is captured in this footage? Could it be that some species of dinosaurs managed to survive to this day and are just well hidden from humans? Or was it some unknown species of bird? Unfortunately, this remains a mystery. At night, people living near an old cemetery began hearing strange sounds that seemed to come from the graves. Tired of this, they decided to find out who was disturbing their sleep. For this purpose, they sent a drone to the cemetery. In the footage, we see the drone flying over the graves. A few seconds later, a real ghost appears on camera. The apparition is startled by the drone's bright light and flees into the darkness. Everything happens so quickly that it's hard to make out what the ghost looks like. However, these few seconds of footage were enough to shock the local residents. In January 2024, a group of teenagers caused a disturbance at Bayside Marketplace in Miami. Local residents inside started to panic and run outside. As a result, chaos ensued in the area. But the most interesting part is that, according to eyewitnesses, there were several tall beings in the crowd, reaching up to 3 meters in height. Videos appeared online showing blurry images of giant gray figures. Those who saw these beings are convinced they were aliens. During this incident, the police received several calls from people near the market claiming to see aliens. However, the police stated that there were no aliens there and asked people not to spread this information. It sounds very strange, doesn't it? During a flight from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, a passenger noticed a strange glow in the desert landscape. This light was coming from 2 identical-sized objects. The passenger decided to capture the event on camera. When he posted the video online, users agreed that the glow could have come from alien spacecraft. This assumption makes sense, as, according to ufologists, aliens usually choose uninhabited places for their landings, and this area where the glow was seen would be ideal for such purposes. Two young men went to the forest to explore an abandoned cottage using a drone. In the backyard of the building, they noticed a large cage next to which a man was standing. He was dressed very oddly and held something resembling a staff in his hands. The friends assumed that he was a shaman and decided to get their drone closer. But as soon as they did, the man quickly ran away. The explorers tried to follow the shaman, but the drone got stuck among the trees and fell. The friends then went to retrieve their device. At that moment, they felt someone's breath behind them. It seemed to them that someone was following them, so they abandoned the idea of retrieving the drone and hurriedly left the place. This footage was captured at a construction site in Portugal. It shows an amazing creature. Its body slightly resembles a human's, except for its disproportionately long arms and legs, and its walk seems tired due to a hunched back. The construction workers were shocked to see this creature, and it's no wonder any of us would be scared at the sight of such a giant. The workers immediately reported it to the police and provided this footage as evidence. The police were also surprised and decided to investigate the area. For a week, they searched for any traces of the giant, but unfortunately it was never found. The author of this video was filming a festive festival in San Pedro with his drone. Suddenly, he noticed a white floating figure above the church dome. It looked very much like an angel, seemingly ascending to the heavens and then returning to the church, only to rise again. Amazingly, some people at the festival also noticed this figure in the sky. According to them, it resembled a person with a translucent body and large wings. What was it? No one knows, but the fact that the figure had such a form and was floating above the church leads one to think that it could indeed have been an angel. The authors of this video dedicated a lot of time to searching for black-eyed demon girls. To make monster hunting easier, they used drones. For several years, they couldn't find a single demon, but they didn't give up and continued their search. Finally, luck was on their side, and their drone captured a black-eyed girl. In this footage, we see a lone girl in a white robe walking towards the forest. Her steps are very light, and she seems unafraid to be there alone. This surprised the researchers, and they decided to follow the girl. However, she likely noticed the drone and quickly disappeared among the trees. On December 6, 2018, a fantastic flying object was spotted in the sky over Browns Island in New Zealand. According to eyewitnesses, it was not a spaceship, but a living creature. It had long arms and legs, as well as an unnaturally elongated head. Most likely, it was an alien. This is actually an amazing and rare case where people see not a flying saucer, but a flying alien. Apparently, alien technology has reached a new level, and now they can move through the air without any flying devices. Residents of Bellingham, Washington, saw a fire in the sky. However, it didn't look quite normal as it seemed to be hovering in the air. Despite this, people still called the fire department. The investigation revealed that it was not fire, but a cloud that had turned orange due to a gas leak at a small fertilizer plant. Although the fiery cloud looked dangerous, fortunately, no one was harmed. The plant's accident was soon fixed, and the orange cloud disappeared. A man decided to make several videos of forest landscapes from a bird's-eye view using his drone. At one point, he noticed something in the frame that greatly surprised him. 3 men, dressed in identical blue overalls, were dancing around a pipe. Agree, this looks more than strange. At first, they didn't know they were being filmed, but then one of them looked up and saw the drone. In the next second, all 3 men ran away. What was that? No one knows. Maybe it was a strange ritual of worshipping the pipe, or perhaps the workers decided to have some fun during their break, and when they noticed the drone, they felt embarrassed by their actions. Mountains can reveal many amazing phenomena, but the author of this video managed to capture something truly fantastic. In 2015, he was traveling through Northern Ireland. When the tourist reached a place known as the Giant's Causeway, he saw a part of one of the rocks suddenly close shut. It looked as if someone very large and strong had closed a door to their hideout, worried about being seen by people. Well, perhaps this place is called the Giant's Causeway for a reason, and giants indeed inhabit this area. This photograph looks really eerie, as people in mountainous areas often face various challenges. For example, in 2023, American researcher Mark Dickey nearly died in one of the deepest caves in Turkey. During his expedition, he developed an abdominal infection that caused internal bleeding. Dickey had to spend several days in this condition while his partner went to seek help. Over 180 people from 8 countries joined the rescue operation. Eventually, they managed to extract the researcher from a depth of more than a kilometer and take him to a hospital. In 1959, Belgian pilot Remy van Lierde discovered a giant snake in the Katanga region of Belgian Congo. Seeing such a large snake, he ordered his helicopter to turn around and capture it on the camera his assistant had. The pilot reported that the snake had a brown-green coloration with a white belly. Its head was at least 90 centimeters long and 30 centimeters wide, and its body length was about 15 meters. These photos shocked the public. Scientists could not precisely determine the snake's species, and thus suggested it belonged to a previously unknown species. However, no similar giant snakes have been seen to this day. This footage was shot with a drone over Farmington Canyon in Utah. Initially, there is nothing unusual in this video, and we can simply admire the lush tree crowns from a bird's-eye view. During the recording, the author didn't notice anything strange, but when he reviewed the footage at home, he saw an unidentified object in the frame. At first, the author thought it might have been leaves lifted into the air by the wind, but then he realized the object was more like a rock thrown at the drone. Now imagine the force needed to throw a rock that high. Moreover, its trajectory indicated it was launched in a straight line, but who could be above the tree crowns? And more importantly, what were they standing on? Unfortunately, this remains a mystery. While exploring the forest with a drone, a group of friends discovered a small house that looked abandoned. The young people were curious about what was hidden within its walls, so they sent their drone inside. It must be said that they were lucky not to have gone there themselves, as inside the building were 2 humanoid creatures dressed in white robes. They were performing some kind of ritual, and when they noticed the drone, they hurried to close the door to keep from being disturbed. Despite this creepy sight, the friends decided to approach the house anyway. On the way, one of the guys suddenly felt unwell for no apparent reason. Realizing they were not welcome there, the friends left the place. An 81-year-old resident of North Carolina raised the alarm when his wife didn't return home from her walk. Of course, he reported her missing to the police. Since elderly people often suffer from memory problems, the police began their search that same day. While checking the cornfields with a drone, they spotted an elderly woman in a purple jacket, the same clothes the missing grandmother had worn. At first, the police were relieved that the search had been quick, but then they saw that the elderly woman wasn't alone. 2 unknown men were with her. From a distance, it seemed that the woman was under the control of these men, as she sat motionless. As the police approached the grandmother, the men disappeared from sight. During questioning, the elderly woman said she didn't remember how she ended up in the cornfield or the men who were with her. The authors of this video are 2 friends who are passionate about searching for mystical creatures. This time, they went to a nearby town to check out abandoned barns in a neighboring settlement. According to the locals, in the past month, they started hearing loud screams that did not resemble any animal and seemed to come from the area with the abandoned structures. To safely check the barns, the friends equipped themselves with a drone. After inspecting several buildings, they had almost given up on finding a monster when they suddenly spotted a creature with white skin. The men were shocked by what they saw and decided to get the drone closer to it. The monster resembled a human, but its facial features were more alien-like. Noticing the drone, the monster started looking for people and saw the friend's car. Instantly, it disappeared from the frame and then appeared right in front of the vehicle. Needless to say, the authors of this video were terrified. This dog named Meadow got lost during a walk in the forest. The owner couldn't find her on his own and posted notices about her disappearance on social media and forums. Surprisingly, someone on Reddit decided to help with the search. In the dense forest, it was challenging to conduct a search alone, so he decided to use a drone. 15 minutes after launching his quadcopter, the man noticed a white spot moving among the trees. He immediately realized it was Meadow. He marked the location on the map and then went there and indeed found her. The kind man calmed the dog, put her in his car, and took her home. Meadow's owner was incredibly happy about this event. Two friends decided to test their new drone and went to an abandoned factory. Almost immediately as the quadcopter approached the building, they noticed a strange creature inside. It looked human, but its face was horrifying. The friends were surprised to see this, but were not scared of the monster. Moreover, they decided to enter the abandoned building themselves. What happened next looked like scenes from a horror movie. Entering the building, the video authors saw someone's frostbitten feet hanging from the ceiling. It looked very creepy. And when the friends entered one of the rooms, they heard an inhuman scream that scared them so much that they decided to leave the building as quickly as possible. The authors called the police, but after searching the building, the police did not find the monster. However, they left a warning sign about the danger in the area just in case. The author of this video was exploring the remote forests of the Amazon in Brazil. He was prepared to encounter wild animals, but instead, he saw a lone man who appeared to belong to one of the indigenous tribes of the area. The man was chopping down trees, and there was no one else around him. The author decided to get closer to capture his face, but at that moment, the man disappeared into the forest. When the author sent this video to scientists, they were very surprised, as they had never encountered indigenous people in this area before. This led them to speculate that the person captured in the footage might be the last survivor of an unknown tribe. The author of this video noticed a very strange object in the sky and decided to capture it on camera. Look at how unusual the object in the air looks. This makes it incredibly difficult to identify. Judging by how the object is shaking in the wind, it has a small mass and size. From a distance, it could be mistaken for a bird, but why hasn't it spread its wings, and how can it stay in the air in such a position? Perhaps it was just some debris thrown up by the wind. However, it would either continue moving or fall by now, but this object continued hovering in the air for a long time and then disappeared. What was it? No one knows. In February 2024, a resident of Fresno, California, witnessed an unusual phenomenon. The man noticed a strange creature in the sky resembling a giant dark squid. Amazingly, this monster was not just hanging motionless in the sky, but was moving in different directions, constantly stretching and contracting its tentacles. The man decided to capture this phenomenon on his camera because he knew others wouldn't believe him just by his word. However, even these frames sparked many debates, primarily about their authenticity. Most people believe the footage was created using video editing. It's not surprising, as it's hard for people to believe that our planet is occasionally visited by aliens. This footage was captured using a drone on the grounds of Berkeley Castle in Gloucestershire, England. The author of the video was simply enjoying the beauty of the 11th century structure and did not expect to capture a real ghost. Returning home, he reviewed the recording and suddenly noticed that a ghostly rider on a horse had been caught on camera. It's simply fantastic. Berkeley Castle is known for the murder of King Edward II of England within its walls in 1327. So, it is quite possible that the spirit seen in this video is his. A hunter decided to observe wild animals using his new drone. The first animal he noticed was a mountain ram. At first, the ram paid no attention to the flying device and peacefully chewed grass. However, the hunter wanted more impressive footage and brought the drone closer to the ram. Naturally, the animal did not like these actions at all. The ram stepped back a bit and then ran at the pesky drone, butting it. This was enough to break the device. After the incident, the hunter went to retrieve the drone. Suddenly, he heard a noise behind him. When he turned around, he saw the very ram that had broken his drone, and it was clear that the ram was very unfriendly. Fortunately, the man found a way to keep the animal from attacking him. Hopefully, he will no longer bother wild rams with his filming. An elderly man went to the beach with his family. During the walk, he got distracted and lagged behind his relatives. For some reason, he left the beach and got lost. When the grandfather's relatives noticed his disappearance, they tried to find him, but to no avail. They then contacted the police. A search and rescue team was dispatched along with several drones, one of which spotted a lone man who turned out to be the missing person. Amazingly, thanks to the drone, the rescuers were able to find and save the elderly man in the shortest possible time. On the night of April 30th, 2023, a very mysterious incident occurred in Las Vegas. Residents of the city noticed a green flash in the sky, descending towards the ground. Then an unidentified object fell into the backyard of a house, and the owner immediately reported it to the police. According to him, he heard a crash in the backyard, and upon looking out the window, he saw unknown beings that closely resembled aliens. He stated that they were at least 3 meters tall with pale skin and huge eyes. The police arrived at the scene, but found neither the aliens nor their ship. However, a round indentation was left on the ground. Unfortunately, it was not possible to catch the aliens or determine the trajectory of their ship's further movement. The authors of this video were traveling in Brazil and witnessed an unusual phenomenon. In the distance on one of the hills, they noticed 2 gigantic beings, each over 3 meters tall, with an appearance reminiscent of aliens. Their skin was pale, their heads had a strange elongated shape, and their arms seemed excessively long. Naturally, the tourists decided to capture the giants on camera and report the incident to the police. After the police saw the footage, they temporarily closed the area to visitors but were unable to find the giants. The authors of this video decided to secretly enter a forest area where tourists are strictly prohibited. They were still wary of wild animals, so they decided to explore the area using a drone. At first, they admired the beautiful landscapes. Then they noticed a white animal sitting by a lake. When the tourists brought the drone closer, they couldn't believe their eyes. In the frame, they saw a strange creature fishing with a primitive rod. It looked like a large albino monkey, but it was something else. The video authors speculated that it might be a yeti. Who knows, maybe this area is off limits because yetis live there. A man living near a place called the Road of Bears decided to explore this area in his car to see if he could really encounter these wild animals. When he drove deep into the forest, he saw a strange creature among the trees. The author decided to use his drone to follow the unusual creature. Thanks to the footage, he was able to see that the creature resembled a very tall human with a body covered in fur. The man then speculated that he had managed to capture a real Bigfoot, who was walking through the forest, unaware that he was being observed. A group of friends decided to stop near an abandoned parking lot to rest after a long drive and look at the old cars. Suddenly, they noticed someone loudly screaming near the cars. They thought it was a person in need of help, but when they saw his erratic behavior, they immediately realized they were dealing with something mystical. To observe the human-like monster, they used a drone. The footage shows that this creature was very aggressive. It was smashing cars, then noticed the drone and tried to knock it down by throwing various objects. The friends decided that it was too dangerous to stay, so they quickly retrieved the drone and left the area. This guy invited his friend to search for a clown ghost that supposedly lives in an abandoned house. Of course, they were curious to see if the stories about this mystical being were true, and if so, to see it themselves. For the investigation, they used a drone since an encounter with a ghost could be very dangerous. They observed the house for about half an hour, and then a strange creature in a clown costume emerged from it. Seeing this, the friends were very frightened and decided to leave the place as quickly as possible. Farmers in the outskirts of Auro, Bolivia, began finding their livestock dead, all with bite marks from fangs. Some people believed that the chupacabra was responsible for the mass deaths. The chupacabra is a character from urban legends, described as a monster that kills animals by sucking their blood. The creature resembles a large dog or coyote. Surprisingly, the incident in Auro caught the attention of the authorities. They decided to investigate the surrounding area using a drone. On the second day of the search, the drone indeed captured a four-legged creature that looked like an ugly monster, but unfortunately, it couldn't be caught. Therefore, the farmers had to take measures to protect their livestock. This footage was captured with a drone in China, showcasing a rather eerie place, a cemetery with a large number of hanging coffins. But why do people use such an unusual burial method? The fact is that some peoples living in China, Indonesia, Tibet, and the Philippines have a tradition that is over 2,000 years old. According to this tradition, relatives must bury their deceased loved ones not in the ground, but on cliffs in wooden coffins. The cliffs, according to these people, are a kind of staircase to the sky, and the higher the coffin is placed, the faster the deceased's spirit will reach heaven. Yes, such cemeteries indeed look shocking, but they also have practical benefits. For example, the bodies of the deceased in hanging coffins are inaccessible to animals. In 2015, tourists vacationing in the Hawaiian Islands noticed a strange object in the sky. It was definitely not an airplane or a hot air balloon. It had the shape of a flattened sphere and resembled an alien flying saucer. The tourists couldn't believe their eyes, so they decided to capture the flying object using a drone. They sent the footage to local authorities to get an answer to the question, what was the object flying in the sky over Hawaii? But no one was in a hurry to explain. Authorities reported that no unidentified flying objects were observed that day, and the video was edited. So the video authors never received an answer to their question. Two daredevils decided to test their drone in action on an abandoned railway section. Almost immediately, they noticed a figure. Bringing the drone closer, they saw something that shocked them. Alone on the railway track was a clown with a balloon. The friends thought this might be some crazy maniac, so they decided to follow him. But the clown noticed the drone and started running away. They reported the incident to the police. Upon seeing the footage, the police were alarmed and decided to catch the clown. Amazingly, a few days later, they managed to do so. Interestingly, the arrest was also captured on the drone by the same friends. Now it remains to determine how dangerous this clown was. A photographer from New Zealand decided to create a series of stunning images that one could look at forever. For this, he needed a flock of sheep, herding dogs, and a drone. The result of this project can be seen on your screens. Agree, it looks simply mesmerizing. Similar unusual shots involving farm animals were taken in Kansas. One farmer set up feeders for his cows in the field, but not in the usual way, but rather creatively. Then he photographed this scene from a bird's eye view using a drone. As you can see, the result was a large smiley face made of cows. Three friends went to the jungle to test their new drone and capture footage of tropical animals. However, instead, they noticed a strange man hiding his face. Judging by his clothes, he was a member of one of the local tribes. It seemed that this mysterious man noticed the drone but did not try to destroy it. He stood still for a while and then left a black bag on the ground and walked away. One of the friends became curious about what was inside, so he decided to quickly go there and come back. However, as soon as he approached the bag, he fell into a trap. Fortunately, his friends immediately came to his aid and helped him out. This incident led the friends to think that the man they captured on the drone might be a cannibal, making it extremely dangerous to stay there. So the young men decided to return home. Area 51 can be called one of the most mysterious places in the USA, as it is believed to contain much evidence of the existence of aliens. The author of this video decided to secretly explore Area 51 and equipped himself with a drone. What he managed to capture surprised not only him, but also everyone who watched the video after its release. In the footage, we see two figures in robes. At first, it seems like they are just two people. But then it becomes clear that they are aliens. They are calmly walking around the area and communicating with each other. After a while, they notice the drone, and the image disappears. Of course, this frightened the author of the video, and he quickly left the area. People have been disappearing periodically in this forest. Rumors among the locals suggest that a monster called Slender Man is responsible. He looks like a tall, thin man dressed in a black suit with a white shirt and tie, but his face lacks eyes, a nose, and a mouth. A team of brave individuals decided to explore the forest and check if Slender Man truly resides there. They conducted their investigation using a drone. After half an hour, they saw something shocking. Among the trees stood the figure of the very monster from urban legends. When the researchers tried to get the drone closer to Slender Man, the image disappeared, and when it reappeared, the forest was empty. This happened several times. As soon as the drone approached the monster, the image vanished, then reappeared. Could it be that Slender Man is not a fictional character and actually lives in our world? This video was shot in 2016 near the building of the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, in Switzerland. In the footage, we see people dressed in black robes walking around a statue of the Hindu deity Shiva Nataraja. Then, a girl appears among these people. The cult members remove her robe, and she lies down on the ground. The author of the video was outraged by what he saw, and reported the incident to the police. When the police arrived at the CERN building, the ritual participants were gone. Who these people were and what kind of ritual involving the young girl they were performing remains a mystery. These young paranormal investigators dared to venture into the forest to an abandoned house. People believe that a witch lives there who steals children once every 10 years. The video authors were determined to find out if this was true or not. The researchers found the house in question and sent their drone towards it. After some time, a witch did indeed appear in the forest. She was dressed as if she had just come from a Halloween celebration. The witch noticed the drone and went into her house. Soon she waved her broom out the window, as if beckoning people to leave, then came out again and started shooting black dust at the drone. After that, the image disappeared, and the friends decided to leave the place. Two friends went to Squamish to enjoy the beautiful snowy landscapes. During one of their walks, they noticed a strange figure on the mountainside. From a distance, the creature looked like a human, but according to the men, it was distinguished by its tall stature and thick fur covering its entire body. The video authors concluded that they had managed to capture a real Yeti. The snowman was far enough away that he didn't even realize he was being watched. He was simply climbing the mountain, moving effortlessly. If it had been an ordinary human, it would have been unlikely they could ascend to the summit with such ease. That's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.